Gen 7 being polarizing isn't exactly the spiciest take in the barbecue Bible, but everything around it that isn't actually playing the game, like Lola, the Pokedex, the regional forms, it all mostly bangs. But just imagine if the game were anywhere near as interesting to sit down and actually play, as the concept of alien Pokemon invading through wormholes in the sky make it sound. You have Mr. Olympian mosquitoes flying through portals, disrupting homeland security, making NutriBullet smoothies out of your citizens. Sun and Moon has no business being this boring. Just like third parties have no business getting a greedy little peek at your business online. That's where Surfshark VPN cowabungas its way in to protect you when surfing on the harsh, unforgiving sea that is the internet. And I mean that literally. Surf across overseas and travel the world at the tap of a finger. With over 3,200 servers in 99 countries, real unrestricted access over the internet. So if you're like me, when Netflix UK is dead, with Surfshark VPN, it doesn't have to be. And if you actually decided to surf across the world, Surfshark still has you covered. Because it's not just protecting your private connections, it also lets you encrypt your online data on the go, keeping you safe when using public Wi-Fi. I know that McDonald's free Wi-Fi might seem like a good shout at first, up until you realize Grimace has hacked into your Binance account. Nah, let Surfshark VPN be the bouncer to your data and cut them off straight at the source. Click the link in the description to copy yourself Surfshark VPN at surfshark.deals/Mr1upz and enter the promo code Mr1upz for 83% off and 3 extra months free. They may be near enough one of a kind in Pokemon's world, but most of these are apparently common in whatever region is contained in that wormhole. A weapon like Buzzwole scranning on a Snorlax like a 1-ton Capri Sun, and in their world it's like our equivalent to Kakuna. Can't even begin to process what the legendaries of their dimension are saying. Their Mewtwo's must be like Jubileus the creator. It's an interesting niche of Pokemon that we're sadly never gonna see again, which is a shame because it's the one time the designers can get a bit freaky with it, really get a bit deep into the spice cabinet, because they're intentionally jarring to look at compared to your standard Goldeen. They're all weird enough that you could make an argument for any one of them being your favourite. I can't justify saying any of them are that bad, but in what order of solid to banger can I rank the 11 Ultra Beasts? Yeah, okay, we get it. Sentient wool, the whole, this is actually hundreds of wee homunculi to spawn up the jumbo homunculus kind of gimmick. But it's not terrible. If it's your kind of thing, fair play. This isn't a Grotle situation for me, where if it's your favourite, you're lying to me? But Stakataka surely has to lean towards the bland side of the beast. 150 alien specimens fused together, hailing from the 4th dimension, looking like it's spawned to teach me how to use a bow and arrow for the first time in Breath of the Wild, which is a shame, because imagine if it actually went all in on the gimmick of being a rearranging Pokemon. If only it changed itself into anything other than a jumbo-sized chimney. I understand it's castle inspired, it's a tower, I get it, but a 150-man job is a bit too ambitious here, clearly. They should have invested in at least a few thousand steps worth of time down the daycare center, pump up those numbers from 150, spawn up enough little amoebas to finish off the rest of it. These creatures could create anything they want, and democracy between the 150 decided that they rearrange themselves into this. In nature, what is their goal exactly? What's their end game here doing this? To be some kind of Venus flytrap for Victorian child laborers? Maybe you already can rearrange more. Sounds like an anime only thing, and the comments are gonna blast me for it because I don't watch it. Have it so that it can use an insane amount of moves from being able to physically mimic them. Razor Leaf just dices you across the room like the Mega Man Yellow Devil. Body Slam goes limp. Ragdolls like it's trying to show off the latest Unreal Engine. Could even throw in some special moves there. Hypnosis could rearrange into the comically large spoon. It's not awful, alright? It's a fairly inoffensive one. But as far as Ultra Beasts go, it's gonna have to rearrange itself into the shed. If you asked me if I thought Celesteela came out of a wormhole in the sky, I'd sooner tell you it came straight from under Sid's bed in Toy Story. Looks like he's fused 3 different toys together, ripe and ready to cause unrepairable mental trauma in his back garden. Because this is one of them Pokemon designs you just have to categorize as a complex carb. Can't digest this one too easily when it's throwing together a good handful of gimmicks. It's half bamboo sticks, half space shuttle, half some kind of Adventure Time princess? And you know, all three are kind of right. The Japanese tale of the bamboo cutter story it's based on, all three are relevant to that. A baby discovered in a bamboo stalk whose hometown is apparently the moon. I'm not denying the thought that went into it. It's a clever idea combining all the lore it's based on, but I can't look at this and not think you've gone and overworked it a bit. I fully reckon any of those ideas as a pair instead of a trio would have banged a lot more. A space shuttle made of steel bamboo, a bamboo princess, an iron princess of space, you know, why not? But nah, they had to go and get a bit greedy. I know they had to match the lore of the little folktale is based on, but to do that, they had to go and make it built like a 3-in-1 shower gel. Sure, it might be more convenient for you at the time, but we all know you're not getting any one of those 3 jobs done as well as you could have if you separated them. I'm not even interested where it came from, how it spawned from the moon. Alright, Clefairy's done that. Old news, 25 years late. What I want to know is what kind of cereal this monster's scranning to be fueled up enough in the morning as a launch Pokemon when it's weighing in at about 4 Hariyama's. I've always wondered why the dimension the Ultra Beasts came from hasn't been explored more. I know you go through Ultra Space and all of that, but when you hear about things like Buzzwole being common in its own world, that should make you at least a bit morbidly curious. What secret region is being stowed away within the big hole? What's that thing keeping secret from us? What does it know? But the moment you notice Guzzlord worming its way out of that wormhole, I understand why. For the first time ever, the world of science collectively checked themselves like, you know, discovering the 4th dimension and all, a big day for us, huge day for humanity, the biggest even. But, yeah. Nah, I think we're gonna cash our chips out now while we're ahead. Don't lose it all, you know? We'll just move past this, alright? We'll move past this one, I think. We'll crack back on with trying to prove Arceus isn't real. Guzzlord, for some reason to me, looks like a boss fight you'd have in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, but as a Pokemon, even for an Ultra Beast, where they're not really meant to be Pokemon in a sense, vile. Diabolical specimen. Like, come now, if the world's leading minds banded together, took one look at you and went, you know what we'll call you? You know what you look like? You look like a Guzzlord to me. Yeah, I'm gonna call you that. You know, you get those moments when people say about you or others like, oh, you look like a Gary to me. You look like a Simon. Nah, you know what you look like? King Consumption. The first Ultra Beast you're exposed to, Nihilego? I mean, the brains behind the Ultra Beast still have better naming abilities than Getsus. As the first one you see, it really sets the tone for them. You don't want to get straight into the Guzzlords and desensitize you too quickly now. You've got to ease people into the aliens. It's one I can't rate too highly when stacked up against the rest of the Ultra Beasts personally, but it's a good gateway into the weird specimens you'll end up bumping into. Really makes you feel like SpongeBob when he gets stuck at rock bottom. I don't blame it for branching into the Pokemon world. A parasite like this was just asking for it. Was probably a good any percent sub 41 speedrun away from getting wiped out by Samus. A huge jellyfish parasite that feeds on any living creature that infests people on the streets and turn them violent. Having people cause domestics like its domes laced with the stellar secret formula. You have a borderline Metroid invasion, yet they're observed behaving like a young girl. Cause Nihilego is deceptively freaky, because it's oddly adorable. Come on, let him infect you, just a little bit. Hey, he brought you flowers. Hey, it'd be rude not to get a bit of toxin down you, go on, show us your coin. I wasn't too keen on Pheromosa at first, but for some reason it being a part fighting type warmed me up to it. At a surface level, it just seems like your standard feminine humanoid Pokemon, which is whatever, might be good enough for Rule 34 bait, but I don't think it was that weird enough as an Ultra Beast. If I see a wormhole in the sky, I expect a big, greasy, slimy alien. I should be left either quivering in my high tops or flummoxed at the being which I now have to process exists. But Pheromosa could have easily passed as your standard Pokemon in a region, but you have to look more into it to realize where its Ultra Beast starts to show. One that's doused in a scent that makes it mandatory that all eyes in the room are locked onto it. Some kind of aftershave that makes you down bad for cockroaches. And that's where the fighting type comes in. That's why I like it, because it's a cockroach that can give you the business. And I'm sure it would love to if it didn't find anything but itself unclean. See, these Ultra Beasts, they smarten up quick. It must know that you're on the 3-in-1 shower gels. Now that is a dirty power play. You're getting told to take a bath by a 6-foot-tall cockroach. And the worst part about it, you're not going to say anything back. You're just going to sit there and let you and your personal hygiene get mugged off. No matter how valid Pheromosa's criticism is, you just sit there and word for word, you say, "Yes, Miss Pheromosa." Grab Scuba Steve and go and give yourself a good old scrub. But here's where the power play is, because it could spin your jaw 10 times over. Yet it'd much rather avoid the brief physical contact it'd have to make with you to get it done. Now I don't just like Poipole because it sounds like I've asked Meowth, "Oi, cat, what colour is he?"
I'm a bit colorblind, but I think it's a bit Poipole.
In the best way possible, Poipole is the most conventional alien-looking Ultra Beast. Sadly, the only one that's known to have an evolution line. With a banger design like that, Poipole seems to be a prime contender for a starter Pokemon over there in the region of Wormhole. I don't even need to know the other two choices they'd have over there. Already sold me with that elite color scheme. But maybe I'd grow to regret that choice once it grows up and becomes an on-the-go, highly toxic adhesive factory. So for me personally, a bit subjective, but that one little factor there, it's not going to rank anywhere near the top 990 Pokemon that I'd want to be the legal guardian of, but definitely going to rank on the higher side of the Ultra Beasts. Naganadel's shiny form has me itching for that biannual hit and run playthrough. Just look how much of a freak this thing is. Looks like it was built to mass distribute a muck vaccine, combining two of the most deadly beings in both mythology and cold harsh reality. The dragon and the dirty syringe. I wonder what kind of power Celesteela has being able to get out of bed in the morning shifting 4 Hariyama's worth of mass out of it every day. I think the opposite with Kartana. How is it this much of a weapon weighing 100 grams? One of the strongest attackers known, and it weighs the same as a ball of gas the human eye couldn't even process without strapping on a virtual boy. Telling me a Pokemon that's main form of offense is giving out paper cuts has the offensive prowess of a mossy golem that lifts up the continent of Africa like it's shifting the back end of a Ford Focus. Surely the pound for pound strongest Pokemon going. This would be so unfair to fight against. Telling me this came from the 4th dimension, your man's barely discovered the 3rd. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near this thing, and I don't just mean for the obvious reason that it's a sentient shuriken, but just owning one and having it around the house so paper thin that if you catch it at the wrong angle, you won't even know you're about to walk straight into it. Shocking bit of trivia for the being known as Slash. Your man can't even learn the move Slash. Seems like they dropped the ball on that one. It's like Magnemite not knowing how to stick to a fridge door. But did they really drop the ball there? Because look, you have to realize what Kartana considers Slash, the government considers first degree. The sentient shuriken, the origami samurai. You've already sold me. That paper isn't just steel, it's money. Top dollar gimmick right there. Xurkitree is one that I love the idea of. Freaky design, nothing else like it. Really tell me we're ever gonna get a Pokemon like this again. This is what your tarot card reading aunt thinks a 5G tower is. Whatever region these are native to, Xurkitree is their equivalent to Sudowoodo. If Ultra Beasts aren't ever coming back, go on, at least throw us a few Ultra Beast regionals. They already exist, you know, make them fly about to a different region and see how they turn out. You can make this thing a fairy type, obviously, make it a big set of fairy lights, can make it look a bit more inviting. Because as it stands now, Xurkitree in practice makes me really happy that the closest thing to a Pokemon I'm ever going to see in my lifetime will be behind a £25 entry fee and 12 inches of bulletproof glass. Because what a menace to society these would be. Could be every hustler's dream. Looks like it was AI generated to rig your electric meter and pry copper out of people's housing. There's just no middle ground. Xurkitrees being common would either revolutionize electricity or we're just done. That's it. Packing it in for good. It's going up in the loft, buried under the Christmas decorations. It's either massively keeping in or putting every Sparky out of business. I reckon it depends how quirky he's feeling. Maybe he's in a bit of a fry every bit of wiring within a 30-mile radius move. You know, he's funny like that. Maybe he's feeling like having a bit of a goof around and have your phone charged slightly slower. Careful if you're browsing Twitter these days, might just juice up the voltage enough to burn in your screen at the right time and permanently brand Whitebeard's nudes on your screen. I don't actually care that much about the destructive side of these. I prefer the prankster side to them that they could be. I don't want to see solar flare everyone's device circuitry. More every day, flicking your plug switches on and off. Casual, inconvenient circuitry. Imagine having to explain to your lecturer for a late project hand in, like, yeah, nah, sir, I'm sorry, I just had no power this past week. Caught a Xurkitree flossing his teeth with the inside of my flat's fuse box. Yeah, sure it was. Alright, last time it was, oh, Buzzwole drank my nan. Now you're blaming the Xurkitree. Alright, just sit down, mate. I seem to notice Buzzwole, he gets a lot of hate. But what's this? What's the issue? Will you have a problem with an insect with comically large biceps? You think that's stupid? You feel a bit insecure that he's got more mass than you? You think that's a stupid design? Everyone gives the pass on Machamp, and he looks like if King DDD had his own Squilliam fancy son. I'm not hearing otherwise. This is an elite mon that's bestowed upon you right here. And where Buzzwole is meant to be a common one, my headcanon is that this Buzzwole right here is the weakest one they had in stock. This Buzzwole gets fat shamed back in its home territory, considered obese by the rest of the Buzz clan. Strongest insect in the normal world, sub 6 foot scrawny sizzle. Weakest insect in the other world, mosquito, who set the anchor arms to jerk size. Really, what's the issue with Buzzwole? It doesn't want to hurt anybody, alright? It doesn't, well, alright, long as he's hit his macros for the day. Snorlax was just wasting those calories anyway. Buzzwole just wants to show the world its abnormally swollen muscles. Unknown if it's a threat or a bit of arrogance. Personally, I believe it's dependent on the context. Like Alex Louise Armstrong, the physique is there to impose dominance to the enemies when necessary. But it's also done in like a, oh, he's throwing up the double bicep. Oh, that means he likes you. God, give him a squeeze. Don't pop him now, he's a bit tender. If you ask me what I'd expect to spawn out of a wormhole from another dimension, Blacephalon is what I'm gonna be expecting the most because it's unexpected. In my opinion, the peak Ultra Beast in terms of how weird they could go. Because it's the perfect balance of being a design that's familiar to us since it's humanoid, but looks so freaky and otherworldly at the same time. With the others, you can kinda give them the old ocular pat down and gauge where they're at. Guzzlord is a giant scran machine. One look and you know to run. Leave the house, leave the kids, cause it's all getting scranned. Kartana is a giant blade. One look and you know, give him your shoes. How do you even approach something like this? It's not intuitive at all. Can't gauge if it's friendly, an enemy. Is it a nobody? Buzzwole in shambles. No clue how it wants to flex towards it. Maybe it wants you to have a little dance, have a little peanut jig, bust out some karaoke. Maybe it's a 6 foot tall microphone. Any guess is valid if you saw this thing slithering its way towards you in the dead of night. You just have no clue how to go about this thing. Do you run? Do you avoid eye contact? Orb contact? Do you just stand there making no movements while it slithers around you, tries to gauge you to see what it wants to do? And while you're sat there analyzing the situation, it's too late. It goes malfunctioning Eddie on you. All these unconventional movements, these quirky colors distracted you. Didn't even have the chance of clocking it's effectively got an electrode screwed onto its arm balls there, did you? Because it's a firework Pokemon. That is a banger right there. That's why I rate this Ultra Beast the most. In its own unique way, it's the most unsettling yet tantalizing thing out of these 11 that a wormhole could conjure up. At first, I thought there were 12 Ultra Beasts in Alola, but the 12th one isn't classified as one, when it may as well be, especially for how integral it is, has a huge role to play in the Alolan Pokedex and lore. Wait, sorry, what? Necrozma. My man, you're thinking about the wrong set of claws. The Sesh Crab is the one with the real pair on him. I get confused with my terminology. You see, since Crabrawler is just an ultra beast of a specimen, a staple of the Pokemon pub scene, now repping the hardest grog dispenser going, Berserker's Pub. Show us your coin, support your local with the official crest of Pokemon's unofficial Sesh Goblins, the Ultra Beasts of the working class. I got around to making it, finally. Got them up on Teespring, link in description, search Mr1upz Teespring. I think merch shows up around the video these days. Just do what you have to.